Nope.
The girl in the mirror does not exist. For a few weeks now, I have seen out of the corner of my eye a girl in my mirror. She's crouched in the corner of the room, arms tight around her chest, facing the wall. The first time I saw her, my heart stopped. I quickly swung around to see nothing. Just my huge teddy bears staring glumly back at me from the foot of my bed. Turning around, the girl in the mirror was gone. But the next day, she was back. My mirror is a vanity mirror, put on top of my chest of drawers. It faces my wardrobe, and in the corner of it, you can just about see my bed. She sits in the gap between the wardrobe and bed, crouching almost on top of my collection of stuffed animals. That's part of the reason I know she's not real. They're never displaced. They've never moved independently. She's always the same. It's unnerving, sure, especially when she follows me from mirror to mirror. The one in my room, I can see her in glimpses in the bathroom mirror as I'm showering or cleaning my teeth. The mirror in the hall, even in the reflection of shop windows as I walk briskly past. She's always there, unmoving, hugging her knees close to her chest. To be honest, I'd gotten used to her. I know, I'd be the first to die in a horror film. I should have gone to get an exorcist. But if I'm being candid, I've become paralyzed. That's not the right word, but I can't think of how else to say it. It's not that I physically can't do it. It's that I lack the energy. Like everything's too heavy, or I'm trying to move through treacle. And, this'll sound weird, I kind of don't want to get rid of her. There's a very weird magnetic force. She doesn't exist. She has no physicality. She doesn't exist outside of the mirror. But I can feel the magnetic pull she gives off. It's like trying to walk away from something when there is an elastic band around your waist. Technically possible, and if you can wriggle out of the elastic band, easy. But I can't. Anyway, the reason I'm writing this is because something weird has happened. It began when she started moving. At first, it was a little look over her shoulder. It was so fast I could have missed it, or thought it was a trick of my mind. Soon, though, her movements were definite, confident, not tentative or subtle. Soon she was rubbing her hands up and down her arms, still crouched in a fetal position. She started shaking her head manically. Sometimes she'd cup her head in her hands, and her shoulders would shake, as if she was laughing or crying, silently as always. Eventually, I came to realize I was spending hours every day just watching her, catching her movement, staring at her. Here's the thing though. A few days ago, she turned around for the first time. She looked dead at me, into my eyes, and sniffed. I could hear her do it. I nearly had a heart attack. She was me. I don't know who I thought she was before, but I could recognize myself in her chin, in her eyes, their color, their shape. But there was something off, too. My body was wrong. It was twisted, bloated in some areas, emaciated in others. My thighs were thunderous, engorged like puffy balloons, and shaking violently with each shudder that racked my body. My arms and stomach shifted like I was looking in a carnival mirror. In 1 second, too thin, too long and scraggly, too much hair, making them look masculine, overgrown like a neglected garden. The next, they were like my thighs, bloated and discolored, like a body pulled from the water after too long. My face was blotchy, covered in spots and blotches, my nose too big, my face too chubby, and smile lopsided. I stopped smiling. She started. She was horrible, hideous, and dangerous. I could sense it. But I couldn't look away. And that, I guess, was my big mistake. Because one day, she ran at the mirror, at my reflection. Opening her lopsided mouth, I saw teeth sharper than daggers, a bloody maw bearing down on my own reflection. She bit down on my neck, and I felt real pain. I could see in the mirror her clambering on my back, and I felt it too. Her jaws sank into the soft skin between my neck and shoulder, and I could feel her grossly misshapen body, cold and hard against my own. Her eyes remained trained on me. They weren't hazel anymore. They were black, like the pupils had swallowed the eyeballs whole. My legs shook, and I collapsed. The girl in the mirror does not exist. I repeat the mantra to myself. I hug my legs to my chest, hating them, hating every inch of my body. She doesn't exist, I mutter, daring to glance behind me to the mirror, angled so I can just about see my own reflection. I'm crouched in the corner, like I always am, except for when it's dark and I can move without having to see myself. And the reflection is there. There's no one standing in front of the mirror to cast the reflection. That's how I know she's not real. She's looking at me. She looks a bit scared, but the lack of bags under her eyes, the clear and healthy looking skin, and the light in her eyes tells me she's happy. She looks a bit like me, but she does not exist. But I can feel an expanding darkness in my chest, like a black hole. It might consume me completely. There's a flicker of something, a memory, a pain. My neck begins to twitch. It doesn't matter. Please help me. The girl in the mirror does not exist. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this week's story. If you did, you know what to do. Run towards that like button and just sink your teeth into the soft part of its neck. Yeah, get a big old bite out of that neck. Shout out to the author of the story, Kate Mesh 137, who also wrote last week's story. So if you enjoyed that one and this one, be sure to let her know in the comments below, or just direct message her using the links in the description. If you did not hear last week's story, I'll leave a link to that in the end slate of the video and in the description. But until next time, everybody, remember to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.